There's one thing which, if you can disprove, will completely dismantle and destroy Christianity. Clickbait? Not really, because I don't think I'm exaggerating. It's Easter, so you know what that means. I get to talk about my faith, and no matter what side you're on, I think you'll find this one interesting. Now, I'm not a superstitious person. I'm skeptical about UFOs. I don't believe in unlucky or lucky numbers, although Uncle Tingman would disagree. And if you tell me something supernatural happened, you know I'm gonna need a lot of proof. I mean, I studied science at university and taught it for 15 years. I'm an evidence guy. But I'm also a Christian, and that means, among other things, I believe that a man once died and came back to life. Which, if you didn't know, is what Easter celebrates. So what's the deal? Surely I don't actually believe this, right? Like it's one of those cool legends in the category of Zeus or other ancient mythologies. Well, I do believe it. I do believe that there was a person called Jesus, born about 0 AD, who died and who came back to life. And here are 4 reasons why. Reason 1, it's well documented. Way before photos and cameras, how would we know that something happened in history? Well, people wrote about it, but how do we know that they weren't making it up? Well, one way is if there are multiple accounts of the same event, especially if it's by people who aren't all in on it, people from different sides. And when it comes to Jesus, there are 4 different collections of eyewitness accounts, which have since been compiled in the Bible. All say that Jesus died, and all say that he was resurrected. That is, he came back to life. And this was backed up by people who weren't followers of Jesus. A Roman historian called Tacitus wrote about a person called Jesus being executed Rome style, that is, death by being nailed to a cross. A Jewish historian called Josephus also wrote about Jesus, saying that he was killed and then appeared to his disciples 3 days afterwards alive. These aren't stories made up way later. They're from writings made really close to Jesus' life. Reason number 2, the Romans could not disprove it. Roman executioners were really good at their jobs. They killed criminals on crosses hundreds, if not thousands of times. Although this one was a bit different because the authorities had rumors that Jesus might come back to life. I know, ironic. So they did something really weird. They put his dead body in a maximum security tomb. A massive boulder was placed at the entrance of the tomb, and 2 soldiers were posted 24/7 on guard. Now, if you were the government and a few days later people were claiming that this Jesus guy was suddenly alive again, how would you prove that it was false? And you want to disprove it because this sort of thing could cause an uprising. Well, it's easy, right? All you need to do is show the dead body. But they didn't, because the tomb was empty. Instead, they did the next best thing. They accused Jesus' disciples of stealing the body, that somehow untrained men, overpowered armed guards, moved a massive boulder on their own and stole the body. Then they captured as many of the disciples as they could and threw them in prison, because if you can't disprove it, silence the witnesses. As crazy as a resurrection sounds, the Roman authorities could not falsify it. Reason number 3, the resurrected Jesus was seen by a lot of people. It wasn't just a small band of disciples. In fact, records show that the first people who saw him alive were women, and in that culture and time, the testimony of women sadly was not considered as strong as that of men. So already, weird choice if you're making the story up, unless that's how it happened. Eventually, it's recorded that over 500 people would see Jesus alive again. Of course, I know what you're thinking. It's not impossible to think that you saw someone after they died. Our minds play tricks on us, especially when there are emotions involved. But 500 people hallucinating the exact same thing? It'd be as if 500 people woke up one day and had the exact same dream down to the tiniest detail. It just doesn't happen. Unless, of course, it wasn't a dream. Reason 4, the sudden and unstoppable birth of Christianity. It takes a lot to change a person, especially the kind of deep down change that happened in these people who saw Jesus come back to life. They went from scared and uncertain to suddenly boldly telling as many people as they could the good news that the one who had come to save humanity was not dead anymore. Death itself had been defeated. And it's not like they were being paid or got any benefits from saying this. Like, many of them would have lost their jobs, their friends, their social standing. In fact, many of the main eyewitnesses to Jesus' resurrection died because of their claim that Jesus came back to life. If I made a fake story up and it later turns out that I was gonna get killed for it, 100% I'd be like, it's not real, I made it up. Because I'm not gonna die for what I know is a lie. These men and women didn't just die for a cause. They died because they knew the resurrection of Jesus actually happened, and they couldn't deny it. And here's a bonus 5th reason, perhaps the most important one. The death and resurrection of Jesus was not random. I mean, if you could prove to me that some dude did some miracle 2,000 years ago, I'd be like, okay, cool. What's that have to do with me again? But you see, way before even Jesus came along, a lot of different people wrote about him. And he himself predicted that he was going to die in that exact way and come back to life. It wasn't a party trick. All along, Jesus was saying that he knew what God thought, what God cared about, how God wanted to bring us back to him after humanity turned away. And the resurrection, it's proof that what he said was true, that there is a way back to God, that evil and death will not have the final say. So what now? Well, maybe this video made you 5 or 10% more convinced that Jesus actually did come back to life, or at least that he's worth more consideration. To that I say, do it. Find out more. His clearest biographies are in the Bible. There are 4 of them that you can choose from, written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Pick any of them. If there's a local church around you, go this Easter. Or go and ask someone there, tell me why you're convinced that Jesus is worth living for. See what they say. Or how's this? If Jesus is really alive, if he's God, and he's alive right now, it means that praying or talking to him isn't just hoping for the best. He'll actually hear it, and in some way beyond what I can predict, he'll actually respond. Try it. Oh, if you made it to this point, I'm really grateful. Here's a dad joke for you as a reward. What kind of music does the Easter Bunny like? Hip hop. Okay, on that note, please be respectful in the comments. Even if we disagree, we can disagree well. But yeah, this Jesus thing, seriously consider it. It's changed my life and given me hope like nothing else. See ya.